Hello, everyone, and I'm going to show you my online course for Philosophy 356 Philosophical Aspects of Feminism. So I'm loading up my courses now, and there it is, right at the top Philosophical Aspects of Feminism. I like a green leaf, just sort of nice and soothing there. And then we have our welcome screen here. You can see that I like memes. I'm weak that way, I suppose. And I figured I'd greet people with a little image there. And I welcome them and tell them what to expect, what materials we're going to cover. I also introduce myself briefly. I give them my name, some basic information. I also give them a link to the syllabus, as well as a link to the first reading, as well as some alternatives here. They can tell them where to find the content, where the discussion boards are, and what my email is, as well as encouraging them to make an introductory post. Trying to make it as active and engaging as possible. My love of exclamation points is very much shown there. So first we're going to go to content. Right. So content. Let's go ahead and hit the syllabus first. So I have my syllabus already constructed, and I uploaded it there. And I also noticed the descriptions there too. I'm not going to necessarily walk through all of the syllabus here. I can certainly tell you all about it if you would like. I have my learning outcomes, the objective of the course, the materials, the prerequisite, a quick note about content warnings. And then we have the course structure, which I used the self-paced structure for an online course that we were introduced to a couple of weeks ago, the read, do. I changed watch to attend because I have a podcast. I also have built in a mandatory virtual office hours appointment. That's actually going to count for 10% of their grade. I made sure to detail ongoing writing assignments as well as 2 papers. And the discussion posts are going to be graded on a credit, no credit basis. I also have some paper assignment details. They're going to use Chicago, some sort of nuts and bolts there that I can certainly go into later, as well as the grading policy here. So this is actually a concern of mine. I'm worried that I didn't put enough scaffolding in. I did my best, but I think I structured this a little bit too much like a grad seminar, but we'll see how it goes. We'll take a look at the grade book in a sec. I also have a late work policy. I'm really nice to people when it comes to that kind of thing. Call it a weakness of character, but I'm quite nice. As long as they talk to me, things are good. So going now, tutorials for the course. This particular section will feature not only suggested workflow, which I'm about to click on, but also things like technology tutorials. You know, how to do a podcast, how to do that kind of thing. Now, I've gone here. I'm not happy with how this turned out. There's too much text. Everything's so tightly packed together. I wasn't realizing that it was going to do sort of the basic all the way back to HTML4 kind of layout. So I'm going to break this up with images and much more clear reading. So that way they can actually have a chart instead of just like block of text. Right. So I have week 1 basically sort of built. I have the readings up. You'll notice I have the video and podcast lectures as well as their transcripts, because there will be transcripts and captions on that video lecture right at the top, and then the readings at the bottom here. I noticed I just noticed that I didn't put the page count on the last source there. I'll have to do that. But I put the page count that way people can plan better. So let's take a look at the video lecture. Someone familiar grinning at us, letting us know that he's never going to give us up. I mean, that's good, I guess. And for each video lecture, there's going to be a transcript of that, which you can see. I probably, on second thought, will probably have that be a downloadable file. That way they can take the transcript with them instead of tying them to D2L. The more that they can download, the better. That's sort of my philosophy here. You'll notice, too, I have the structure of the course mostly worked out. Week 5 and week 8 are going to have the same construction. It's just going to be, once I create it, a little Dropbox for the midterm paper and the final paper, respectively. So let's take a look at the grade book. Yeah. So 20% of the weight, it comes through participation, pass fail for weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. The missing weeks are midterm and final weeks. I'm not going to do that to them. Midterm and final paper. Quizzes, I'm treating as worksheets that they can take an unlimited amount of times. That way, it'll encourage them to actually do note taking and that kind of thing. So let's take a look at the discussions here. Here, notice I'm giving descriptions to every single thing. That way they know what it is. I have administrative matters. This is where the introduction discussion post is. And you'll notice that no one's made any introductions because it's a test course. I can introduce myself to myself, but that would be kind of weird. But it's fairly intuitive. I also included a troubleshooting board in case people need to sort of check in and go, is this link working for you? Is this working for you? What's going on? I also have the weekly discussions board. This is where the primary activity is going to be. And I note that it's going to be necessary to satisfy the discussion post sort of requirement of the course. I like flagging that kind of thing. As much flagging as I can do there. So where am I going next? I think I'm going to course admin. Yes, you'll notice that my homepage looked a little different. That's because I actually created a different style homepage, which I have down there. It says welcome. It's a little bit basic, right? I like actually the condensing of information there. I don't like the way it's crowded. And in fact, I have this old idea of Access Google Apps. You know what? Like, I don't really need that. I don't need that. So let's go ahead and get rid of it. Let's make it clean. That way we can get things a little bit more simple, because the simpler it's going to be, the easier it is for the students to sort of catch on to what's going on. So yeah, that's the basic tour of what I have so far. I want to see if I can figure out how to get that content browser to show the entire thing. That would be great. I don't know if that's actually possible, so I'll play around in the settings there. Well, you get the general idea.